One who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Politics have no relation to morals. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. The more sand has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Men should be treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries, for heavy ones they cannot. There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. Before all else, be armed. Never was anything great achieved without danger. There is no avoiding war, it can only be postponed to the advantage of others. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Men rise from one ambition to another. First, they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. One change always leaves the way open for the establishment of others. There is no surer sign of decay in a country than to see the rights of religion held in contempt. A son can bear with equanimity the loss of his father, but the loss of his inheritance may drive him to despair. To understand the nature of the people one must be a prince, and to understand the nature of the prince, one must be of the people. No enterprise is more likely to succeed than one concealed from the enemy until it is ripe for execution. A prince never lacks legitimate reasons to break his promise. We cannot attribute to fortune or virtue that which is achieved without either. Whoever conquers a free town and does not demolish it commits a great error and may expect to be ruined himself. Princes and governments are far more dangerous than other elements within society. Tardiness often robs us of opportunity and the dispatch of our forces. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. There is no other way to guard yourself against flattery than by making men understand that telling you the truth will not offend you. Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. People should either be caressed or crushed. If you do them minor damage they will get their revenge, but if you cripple them there is nothing they can do. If you need to injure someone, do it in such a way that you do not have to fear their vengeance. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo, I want to overthrow it. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch because everyone can see but few can test by feeling. Everyone sees what you seem to be, few know what you really are, and those few do not dare take a stand against the general opinion. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar. A man who is used to acting in one way never changes, he must come to ruin when the times, in changing, no longer are in harmony with his ways. A prudent man should always follow in the path trodden by great men and imitate those who are most excellent so that if he does not attain to their greatness, at any rate, he will get some tinge of it. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. Any man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good. Hence a prince who wants to keep his authority must learn how not to be good, and use that knowledge, or refrain from using it, as necessity requires. It must be remembered that there is nothing more difficult to plan, more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to manage than a new system. For the initiator has the enmity of all who would profit from the preservation of the old institution and merely lukewarm defenders in those who gain from the new ones. Appear as you may wish to be. He who becomes a prince through the favor of the people should always keep on good terms with them, which it is easy for him to do since all they ask is not to be oppressed. It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret. He who builds on the people, builds on the mud. Nature creates few men brave, industry and training make many. He who is highly esteemed is not easily conspired against.